Hey everyone, my name is Anna, and today I'll be going over my team simulation presentation for our marketing management class. In this class, we played the business management version of the marketplace simulations against 7 other teams. My team was Group 7, where we were Pear Inc., a company that manufactures and sells fruit-themed microcomputers to the B2B market. Here at Pear, our mission is to help people and businesses realize and reach their full potential. So, for the simulation, our goal was to be the best competitor in the marketplace, and I'm happy to say our team was successful in reaching this goal. Within 8 quarters, our firm was able to generate $34.7 million in revenue, open 7 sales offices in Europe, North America, and the Asian Pacific markets. In Q8 alone, we made nearly $2 million in profit and was successful in marketing to every target segment in the marketplace. And most importantly, our team ranked number 1 and won the simulation game against our entire class. However, despite these successes, playing the simulation wasn't something we picked up right away. At the first real start of the game, our team had a pretty subpar start. In the balanced scorecard, we only had a 0 score in the total performance, and our only real standout strength was our financial performance. Versus our last quarter, where you can see our total score of 258, which was far above all of our competition, and we excelled in most aspects that we were measured in. So, how did we make this happen? Well, first, let's take a closer look at how we performed in Q3 and what tactics we took to correct them in Q4. So in the beginning, we had some pretty critical issues. After being evaluated, we found that none of our brands or ads met the minimum requirements set by the customer union. We deduced that despite our efforts, we had no real idea how to read between the lines to deliver what the qualities our customers really wanted in their computers. For example, we originally made our workhorse brand called Watermelon a laptop, which of course did not resonate with our customers, causing us to have a lowest scoring workhorse in the market. However, we did see that this was a great opportunity for the traveler segment and quickly pivoted to make this our number 1 traveler brand for our priority segments in the next quarter. Another crucial mistake was making overly cluttered ads, where you can see an example of right here on the right. There we used the max amount of claims possible just for that one ad. Another critical mistake was pricing. Especially for our Ichigo, our innovator brand, it was way too high. We learned that even with customers who like prestige products, they ultimately go to the cheaper competitor as long as their needs can be somewhat met. So you can see from our market share of 18%, this had placed us in 3rd place, but we were really no real match for the top firm, Supermicro, in Q3. So from here is where we were able to turn things around, but things were not as great as they seem. So the great accomplishment in this quarter is that we made over double our market share in Q4, which turned that 12% into 26%, taking the lead over everyone in the market. Still, we had landed a spot where we dominated the market in demand, but ran into the problem of not having enough capacity in our plants to be able to make those products. Although we were steadily buying more capacity each quarter, we had no real way of predicting our changes were going to be that effective with customer demand. As in the last quarter, we only had a demand of 452, and in this quarter, we had 3,000. Another tactic that rose our demand was changing our first priority segment to traveler when we accidentally tapped into that watermelon laptop. Seeing the success of that segment made us decide to make that quick switch since many other firms were not going after travelers at this time. You can see how we turned our poor performing brands into top ranking brands of the entire market. In the right corner of the screen, you'll see our updated workhorse brand, Watermelon 2.0, come from being the worst one in the market to the top rated brand in the market. Also, by using fewer claims in our ads, featuring product benefits on the top spot versus our brand name, our customers were loving our new ads, which brought those scores into the top as well. But the downside of all this effective marketing is that we had to suddenly launch a demarketing strategy for Q5. We did this to avoid getting hit with major stockouts and getting hit with those extra costs of going over capacity in our plants. So, by lifting all our pricing and greatly decreasing ad spend, we worked towards stabilizing our demand for the time being, while trying to have some extra cash for the next quarter. So here are the results of our demarketing strategy. Unfortunately, our plan was a little too effective. This quarter was all about getting back what we had purposely lost. Although we kept our number 2 spot in the game, our sales took a dive, and our market share dropped to 12%. Although we still had money in the CD, we failed to take into account how much sales would be lost and was forced to take a very small emergency loan. Due to our $600,000 expenditure in more fixed capacity. We also failed to account for that extra cost of shipping for our Tokyo office, even though it was a high selling market for our first priority segment and had very low competition. However, we felt that the loan was very small and we were able to pay it back immediately. It was better to take that out than not because we were able to purchase that much needed plant capacity. This was also the first quarter that marked our ability to use R&D. We purchased a 23-inch high-res monitor and high-speed networking. Our strategy with technology was to purchase ones that would boost our main priority segment travelers and work well for all of our other segments. At the time, we had Innovator, Workhorse, and just made the decision to add Mercedes. Here in this quarter, we executed a new testing strategy where we would add in different segments, A and B tier brands, and different types of ad strategies. For example, we would try ads with and without a brand name, ads using 4 to 6 claims, and so on. And for Mercedes, we decided to take the chance after we saw that most firms were really afraid to go after the segment, and once they did a pretty poor brand rating in like the 27s and 44s. So after going after it, you can see the results for Q7, where we actually ended up dominating that segment and having that market demand from 12% to 44% just in one quarter. Q7 was all a quarter where we made it to the first place in the game. However, we were met with tough competition from another firm who performed slightly better than us in that individual quarter. They had the most sales office with 6 compared to our 4. In addition to that firm, we continued to have fierce competition as they were watching our every move. One way we decided to combat this was by building our market performance by taking the daring move to move Mercedes to our second priority segment. Although the segment had showed that they preferred our brand over the competition, we still didn't have that many pieces of R&D, which we believe was crucial to satisfying Mercedes. Also, our brand ratings were only 68 for that segment, so I knew our marketing effectiveness would take a hit. However, this was one of the measurements we usually excelled in and had high ratings in our first priority segment, so we felt like this trade-off was worth it. Another tactic we used was to try to decrease our competitors' market share in cost cutter, the only segment we hadn't pursued yet. Our goal here wasn't to be the best, but to decrease the 2 dominating firms' market share. As you can see, we were somewhat successful as we grew from 3% to 8% in the following quarter. Here is the final quarter of the game and our last big push to the top. As you can see, we came in first place, winning the game. We also smote the competition with that high score, and we also had the highest market share for every target segment in the marketplace. So, how do we pull this off? Well, since R&D was available, we always made sure to be investing in that technology. Even though they came at an extremely high price tag, we found that it was always worth it to have some R&D ready in every quarter. Another boost to excelling with our technology is that luckily it appeared that no one in our class did any licensing. So, most farms only had 1 to 2 pieces of technology versus our 5. And since this is the last quarter, we used our usual investment funds that normally go to R&D or opening sales offices, and we put all of that into all possible sales tactics and lots of advertising. So, for the sales tactics, we knew that typically you get a boost in the quarter and it usually trails off. So, we planned to save everything for that final push in the last quarter. We also went well above the norm and distributed 615 total ads, where most people and most firms only did 150. We also decreased our brand line from 10 brands to 5 to streamline our elite tier brands to push to only the ones that had R&D. Overall, by competitively lowering our prices, spending more on advertising, and investing in our sales force, we were able to come up as the top #1 firm in the simulation. So, here are our final thoughts on how we played the game and the key strategies that led us to become the #1 firm in the industry. First, always be 1 step ahead of your competitor, especially in pricing. Although this necessarily wouldn't work in real life, always try to have prices that are better than your competitors. Even if it's just $1 cheaper, there can be much more of a likelihood of your brand getting picked over an expensive one. Next, continuously test and improve your brands and ads in every quarter. In the quarters that we had no changes, there were times we actually saw ratings go down 1 to 2 points. Also, the competition can see your every move and copy your brands exactly. If 2 brands are the same, they will go after the cheaper one. We also chose to strategically open markets with low or no competition. In fact, if you're first to market you'll actually get a slight mover's advantage. However, be aware of the differences in shipping costs, and certain markets will naturally not be as profitable as others. And another key to our success was getting as much R&D as fast as possible. Technology is the way to higher brand ratings, therefore more demand and higher sales. And our final tip is always to wisely invest in your future. That means manufacturing, sales office, technology. As long as you don't go completely crazy with it and invest with these things and you know how to use them, you'll do well in the game. Bottom line, our game wasn't won by doing one specific tactic. You have to be willing to look at all the data that's in front of you, monitor your competitors, and be perspective to how the market reacts. Adapt and reprioritize. And know that what may work once might not work the same again. Thank you, everyone.